Welcome aboard National Football Show. It's your boy Big Sills. Pull up a chair, put your phone somewhere, put us on your television set, sit back and listen for the next 3 hours. We are power-packed. One of our dear friends will step in with us today, Merrill Reese. That'll be in hour 2. The legendary voice of your Philadelphia Eagles will be with us at 4:30 Eastern Time. I love kicking it around with a man that has covered that team for 6 decades. And we will talk with him. Loves and has passion for that team like no other. One of the greatest voices for a professional sports team of all time. You know how many people revere Vince Scully when he was calling the Dodger games, Brooklyn and in Los Angeles? Same thing could be said about Merrill calling Eagle games. We have him for you. That is, again, in hour number 2 at 4:30. I was listening to Barrett Brooks. I love listening to Barrett on Sports Take. I really do. You know, he said something that made me pause about Jalen Hurts. I was going to start my show with something completely different, but I heard Barrett say something. Barrett goes like this. No, I'm good with now. I'm good with Jalen. And then he went on to say this. If you're going to look at Jalen Hurts like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, you're going to be disappointed. I think Barrett and I are on the same boat when it comes to Jalen Hurts, that it really isn't about statistics with him. The 4,200 passing yards and 30 touchdowns, that's for fantasy football people. Like I've been saying here, beating the Vikings, Washington, the Cowboys, Packers. That's where you make your stamp as a player in this league. It wasn't so much that Lamar Jackson was a unanimous MVP a couple of years ago in Baltimore. His status went up last year when he beat Patrick Mahomes and he beat that Chiefs team, didn't it? We looked at him different. Because when you start to beat one of those elite teams and one of those elite quarterbacks, that's when the narrative changes on you. Look at what the narrative is right now on Dak Prescott. Great stats, gets bounced early in the playoffs. That's not a winning formula when you're talking about the elite guys in the sport. So let me go back, and I'll tell you what is even more cool about this is that my boy Xander was around when this was going on between Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. And I think it's so appropriate this week because both their teams are going to face each other. Obviously, Tua and Jalen aren't going to play this weekend, but they will in that organized team practices. So they'll see each other, and they'll be going back and forth, jockeying and ping-pong and what have you. You're not going to really see them on a Saturday game, though, for the final exhibition game. Can we make this statement about Jalen? Watch this. Who's easier to coach? And I wonder when they were in Alabama, if the coaches in Alabama just didn't go with the easier guy to coach. And here's what I mean by that. When you have a drop-back quarterback who's not going to take off running, you don't have to design plays. You don't have to worry about his health too much. You don't have to pace. Do we agree Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen are going to have to pace Jalen Hurts this year? You can't run that guy 20 carries in a game and have him throw the ball 35 times a game. He'll never make it to the end of the season. That guy won't make it to the finish line like that. Getting pounded like that, it's not that he doesn't have the ability to play like that. You're in the NFL now. It's the war of attrition. You hear that comment being made all the time. Don't you think it's harder to coach a guy like Jalen Hurts than Tua Tagovailoa or even Tom Brady? Tom, drop back, throw the ball. This is what Shane Steichen, this is what Lane Kiffin, this is what Steve Sarkisian, when they were at Alabama, had to think. Do we put design runs in? Do we have him drop back? Do we have him roll? That's a harder game plan to put together. Would you not agree? That's a harder athlete to coach than just Peyton Manning. Now, the advantages with a quarterback like Manning and Brady. Okay, obviously, savants upstairs, no progression reading, but it's easier to coach. When you got a guy like Lamar, hell, even Kyler Murray, right? Even Kyler Murray. You have to really put a game plan together, not only to win games, but to preserve your guy. That's the thing they're fighting in Buffalo right now. One of the reasons that they went out and they've made an absolute emphasis on O-line and running backs. They can't have that quarterback sitting up there in Buffalo getting pounded week in, week out. You're just not going to make it to the finish line. Jalen Hurts is a harder athlete to coach than a Gardner Minshew or a Carson Wentz. Tom Brady, for that matter. Harder to coach. And what I mean by harder to coach, not that they have any lesser talent, it's a different style of talent. See, I'm set in my ways that I like a certain style. And I've told you guys this before, okay? You know, Jim Furyk, I've made that analogy to you guys before. Jim Furyk won major championships with the worst golf swing on the planet. And I would be one of the guys that would try to change that and take away what that guy's comfort zone is. Jalen Hurts' comfort zone is the way in his style of play. Why would we want to take that away by asking him to throw the ball 35 times a game? That's why I guess when Nick Sirianni says this, no one's open, he's taking off. And he's comfortable with it. He doesn't want to take him out of his identity and his style of play. They're putting a game plan together in Philadelphia that fits his style. And they've got to craft this. They didn't want to do this in Alabama. The easier guy to coach was Tua. Plus, you had all those guys. That's why A.J. Brown fits in the Eagle offense. He's going to be dominant in the run game. He's a yak guy. You got another speed guy on the other side in Devontae. Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin in Alabama had all those Calvin Ridleys and Jaylen Waddles, all those guys in that room. They weren't going to waste those wide receivers in that room with a guy who has a different style of play. So they benched him. And they went with the passer. Jalen Hurts is a tough style to coach. The player's not tough to coach. The player's receptive. He was raised by a coach. That's not where I'm going here. That's not what I'm saying at all. Okay? So when you're looking at, because Nick goes, yeah, this is not a good he's never going to be a guy who's going to throw for 5,000 yards. It's a different style. It's about wins with him. It's never going to be about numbers. He is not going to put up a shitload of numbers in Philadelphia. He is not. But he could put up a shitload of wins. And at the end of the day, that fits his style of play better. Jesus criminy. Who gives a shit if Jalen Hurts throws the ball for 450 yards? If they beat Dallas and he throws for 175 yards and he's 16-18 for 3 touchdowns, what do you care? Jesus, you sound like your owner with Doug Peterson on a Monday having to explain why they won this way. How pathetic. Who cares if Jalen Hurts never throws for 4,000 yards? Jalen Hurts wins 13 ball games. People aren't going to care about that shit. I think the year that Lamar won the MVP unanimously, I think he only threw for 3,100 yards, 3,400 yards, something like that. Okay? This is going to be about wins. This is going to be about winning football. Okay? Hey, chalk it up sports. No, because if you're 65 or 70 years old, people can't be wrong, or the evaluation of a player and how you see it, because You've got to be set in your ways because that's old school Philly sports talk. If you massage your take a little, people think you're flip-flopping. No. I'm trying to come to center with you, and I'm trying to, quite frankly, guess what I'm doing? Compromise. Because I never think he's never going to throw for big numbers. He's not that good of a passer. Get that in your head. But he can win a lot of ball games. All he has to do is do what Roethlisberger does. Make 5 plays a game, and he can carry his football team across the finish line because that team is stacked. I said to you yesterday, that team is stacked. They're ready to roll. They're ready to go, man. Okay? I agree, but we'll say he can't. He's not a passing quarterback. Wait, Mike. I'm not waffling on numbers here with him. He'll never be a prolific passer. That's just not what he is. But he could be a prolific winner. How about this? He could be a better version of Michael Vick. Vick never won. Vick was great to look at. He didn't win shit. When you pick the top 25 quarterbacks in NFL history, Vick's name's not in it. But he was fun to watch. By the way, I would never take Brett Favre as my starting quarterback. You know why? He turns the ball over too much. This guy retired as the all-time passing touchdown leader and interception guy. That's so much my guy. I like people that take care of the football. Okay? Solo, absolutely spectacular. So do you pay him based on those wins? That's a great take, Solo. Because I think that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles and their front office have come to grips with. If Jalen Hurts leads his team to the NFC Championship game, okay, his numbers are going to be pretty decent. Not exceptional, but they'll be decent enough for them to go, he's our guy moving forward. Okay? He's our guy moving forward. GT goes, okay, how about this? Can we win a Super Bowl like that? Like I told you before, Kaepernick got to a Super Bowl. He can. Kaepernick's probably a better passer. Okay? Probably a little, I wouldn't say a lot either. But circle back to my point here. Jalen Hurts is a different style of John Harbaugh. Look at what he had to go through. He had to go from Joe Flacco, a pure drop back guy, to a style of play that was polar opposite on what he's coached. That's great coaching in Baltimore. John Harbaugh might be the most underrated coach in all of pro football. When you bring up the great names of coaches in the NFL, somehow his name always gets passed over. And he's the better Harbaugh, by the way, as a coach. That guy, not saying that Jim's not good either. This guy's 47-17 or something like that as a head coach in the NFL. Jim Harbaugh can coach the NFL. But this John Harbaugh, man, look at what he had to do. Revamp this entire offense around one guy. Hurts has 27 turnovers in 20 games. You've got to cut that down immensely if you're going to win a Super Bowl. Easy Money says it's about wins and then making noise in the playoffs. Right. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Okay? Please hit the like button here. So let's move it on to the next phase here. The way that this Eagle team has been constructed by Howie Roseman and being coached by Nick Sirianni. You think this team could beat the Rams, Bucks, or Packers? And those are the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFC this year. You think they could beat those 3 teams? You put the Eagles on the field with the Packers. By the way, I think the Packers defense will be better than the Eagle defense this year. I think they're going to end up in the top 5, maybe top 3, the Packers. There's a lot of talent on that Packer defense. I've been saying that all year. That's not just an epiphany here on August 23rd. Look at the commodities and draft assets. Look at the money they've been spending when it comes to re-signing guys. It's been on the defensive side. They let Devontae Adams loose because they had to sign guys on the defensive side. They were younger and they were more impactful. Green Bay looks at wide receivers and says, we've been doing it for 40 years our way. We'll do it again. Did anyone see when Patrick got hit in the playoffs, his neck almost buckled? I did not. Have you seen the Bucs O-line? I have, Jones. But Brady will adjust to that. Get the ball out quicker. More screen passes to the running backs. The running backs are going to have to be a factor early on until they get Jensen and some of them guys back. There's no doubt they got a mass unit on that offensive line. That's why I said, if I was Jason Light, the general manager of the Buccaneers, I'd call Howie Roseman and go, what's up with Dillard? Or even Jack Driscoll, something like that, just to get some bodies in there. People are still doubting his ability. No, they're not. They're talking about what he's done. Ability, I haven't seen one thing from that quarterback in Philadelphia that makes me think he's going to progress as a passer in the league. Not one thing. Zero. I'm with D Gunn. Go out and do it. And then we do this. Watch this. Hey, man, he is getting better. People can be proven wrong. It happens daily. Most people in their life are proven wrong daily. Okay, the Rams take. So you don't think they could beat the Rams? Eagles will win 12 wins and see the playoffs. Maybe an NFC championship game, says Ryan. Personally, I don't believe the Eagles can beat the Rams, Bucks, or Packers. I'd like to see them play the Rams, though. But I don't believe you could beat any one of those 3 teams right now until we see the action of the team as they get out there and play. And we see the first quarter poll of the season. I don't believe you can beat those 3 teams yet. Because what's the difference between those teams and what's the difference between those teams and the Eagles? The quarterback is superior and the defenses are right on par. With the Rams, you got the best pass rusher in the sport and one of the top corners in the sport. The Bucs have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and the Packers have one of the best defenses and the 2-time reigning MVP. I don't believe you could beat any one of those 3 teams as of today. Okay? That doesn't mean I wouldn't like to see that Eagle team lining up against the Rams, because I think that Rams defense can be run on. You're not running on Villa, and you're not running on that Buccaneer D-line. You couldn't do it last year, and nothing's changed in 7 months. They added the kid from Chicago when Sue left. Nothing's really changed on defense. You're not running the ball against that front. They shut down the best O-line last year in football. Remember that. You were one-dimensional against the Bucs, and they smoked you. They said, let's stop the run. He can't win in the passing game. And they crushed him. We'll see if that's changed. You think how much do you think A.J. Brown has changed that score in that game? 10 points? It was still never close. How much do you think that's really changed? Sills, what makes you think the Eagles can't beat the Rams? Because the quarterback's better. Wide receivers, you got the best wide. Here's what the Rams have. The Rams had the best wide receiver in the game last year coming back. They added Allen Robinson. Matthew Stafford was sensational last year. He beat both Aaron Rodgers and Brady. Then he turns around on the defensive side, and you got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. You got some of the top 3 players at 5 different positions in the sport. I would even make this argument. Stafford's probably in the conversation for the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC. Ramsey's in the top 3 for corners. Donald's 1. Kupp could be 1 or 2 in passing. Kupp had almost 2,000 yards receiving last year. It was an iconic season. You're talking about unreal play on those 3 teams. Savvy says the NFC is wide open. But here's Savvy where I think the Eagles can catch the Rams, Bucks, and Packers. You ready? I don't think these 3 teams are as deep as the Eagles are. And I think they can wear them out like they did teams in 17. You're not overly talented like those Rams, Bucks, or Packers teams, but you're deeper. That just might be enough to win an NFC title. That just might be enough. At the beginning of the year, you're not going to be in those 3 teams' leagues. But by the end of the year, I think you will. See, the Bucks, the Packers, and the Rams can't afford losses. Why? Because they're not deep because of the money they're paying some of these guys. When you pay the money that you pay to have a roster like those guys do, win today, would we agree? This Philadelphia Eagle roster is not just for win today. It's next year. You got 2 first-round draft choices. It's the year after. Rams, Bucks, and Packers, with those quarterbacks, man, you got to win today. This is a today deal. Buffalo, it's not about today or this year. It's about the next 10 years. Okay? It's about the next 10 years. That's what this is. Broncos and Eagles in the Super Bowl. I don't think the Broncos are deep. I don't think they're very deep. Eagles, Bills. Like I said, you just may have enough to get yourself to that game. By the way, Merrill Reese, hour 2, 4:30 Eastern time. You may have enough. Today, that's why when teams talk about, and watch this, I have completely come full circle on your Dallas Cowboys. I do not believe that football team will have a 500 record in 2022. No way. Running game's going the other way. It's trending bad. Zeke has gone from 80 yards a game to like 55. No Amari Cooper. Banged up wide receiving core. Diggs had an out of his mind and out of body experience season. He ain't doing that again. You think that guy's going to put multiple double-digit interception seasons up? Not happening. Do you know the last time somebody had double-digit interceptions like that? It was Everson Walls back in the 80s. He ain't doing that again. So what does that mean? That turnover differential is going to be drastically different in Dallas. You know what I'm doing to Dallas? I'm going to run the ball on them. And that's what the Eagles do best. Dude, don't throw the ball against the Cowboys. Run the ball against the Cowboys. And you'll pound them like the Browns did 2 years ago for 290 yards on them. Pete, that Cowboy team ain't having a 500 record. They're not making the playoffs. In a down NFC, too. They're not making it. They're not making it. Easy Money says, Rams soft this year. Eagles better make it to the NFC title game, at least if Hurts is the guy. Roster's top 3. Roster's top 3. Watch this. Who's got a better roster than the Eagles right now on August 23rd? Bills? Maybe. What's another deep team? Jesus, Bills and Eagles. I'm trying to think of a team that's been Pittsburgh? Maybe the Steelers? Nobody's built like Buffalo and Philly. Nobody. Now, that second unit's got to play better than they did against the Browns. Try getting off the bus. That might help. Matt, the Eagles do not have a better roster than the Bills. Are you crazy? You don't have one wide receiver on your football team that's ever had a 100-catch season. I think Diggs has done it 3 times already. That quarterback in Buffalo is the favorite to win the Most Valuable Player award. Their defense is as good or better than yours. And their coach is better. Speak in reality. They're stacked. Now, easy money. Repeating as champs. Dolphins are going to need to be packed. By the way, we're going to get into a little bit of Dolphins and Eagles here in a second. I got a topic here for you. Buffalo, where are you getting this info from? I'm not what you're sure you're talking about celebrating. The Rams, in my opinion, will not win it again. They will not. They will not. Because they'll have, especially if Stafford's arm is where it's at right now. SMD Eagles, yes, speak in reality. I am. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, I do speak in reality. He's not a very good passer. And he must throw better and be more consistent. SMD Eagles, you're dead on. Hey, by the way, we're going to find out if he's improved. There's no more wishful thinking. Because that's all it is. It's wishful thinking. I'm hoping. I heard even Barrett hoping. I think he can. Anytime you use the words if and hope, okay, there's no clarity to that. If and hope or I wish. That's not certainty. Aaron Rodgers is a bona fide NFL legend and MVP. First ballot Hall of Famer. That's factual. That's factual. Tom Brady's the greatest winner in the history of pro football. That's factual. Stafford erased some of the demons of Detroit to go on and show people with a good organization around him, he can win a Super Bowl. That's factual. That's reality. Here's not what's reality. Jalen Hurts is going to throw for 4,400 yards and 33 touchdowns. That's wishful thinking. That's wishful thinking. Sometimes when reality gets put out in front of you and you have to write it down and look at it, it's a hard pill to swallow. But that's okay. I'd rather be a guy that has to go out and prove it than a guy that's sitting on his laurels that goes out. I want to be that underdog. I think the Philadelphia Eagles should take on that coat. And I think they should take on that attitude. It's us against the world like they did in 17. You know what made that team 17 great? It was an attitude they had. And you know what that attitude was? What was that comment at the parade that Jason Kelsey? How do you like us now? Okay. That was an attitude that they had as an organization that resonated down with the locker room. Said we can't do it, lost our quarterback, our MVP. Still went out there and beat the shit out of the GOAT. Dude, that's an attitude. That's something that a lot of teams, they can't put that recipe together. They go out there and beat your ass. Hey, man, if that recipe was easy, everyone would have the ingredients to it. Okay? That's right, Rage. F you attitude. You know? Hey, man, I love that take, Jones. Hungry dogs run faster. You're damn right. Hey, I'll tell you what, Jones, Nick Saban says this all the time. By the way, Xander, congratulations. Your boy's the highest paid coach, and rightfully so. signed a $93 million contract. He's such a GOAT. You know what he says? He goes like this. Hey, when someone gets food put on their table all the time, they're not quite as hungry to go out and earn it the next time. But when you're starving, you're motivated to do anything. He goes, those guys are hard to beat, man, when you got to feed yourself. Because you'll do anything to get that plate of food on your table. You know, you feel me? Matt. Gigi, I can't wait until Sills has to take back all the trash he's been speaking on the Eagles. I just said that I think you have enough to get to the NFC Championship game by the end of the year. That's trash talking, Matt. Again, dude, you must be unbelievable at a Christmas dinner party when you're having a debate because you just hear the shit you want to hear. Unreal, man. Then again, you'd fit right into my house because whoever hollers the loudest, no matter if you have the facts or not, dog, whoever hollers the loudest at an Italian house usually wins the argument. Yeah, but you're not right. I won the argument. Okay, hey, that's good. Pete, Hurts can throw for 4,000 yards. It's 250 yards a game. Bro, you've never had but one guy throw for 4,000 yards in your history of your team. You've never had a 100-catch wideout. And there's not a guy on your roster that, oh, wait, the $25 million a year guy's never even had more than 70. What are you talking about? Reality. Hey, Forrest, over here. Over here, Forrest. Still said NFC Championship game. That works. I'll tell you what. Like Xander says, Jalen Hurts gets that team to the NFC Championship game. He'll have a $40 million bag of money waiting for you at the end of the whole thing. Dude, I love that attitude. No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. Dude, I love that. Hey, that's a great T-shirt. Delph, I like that, man. That's a great T-shirt. Hey, I love the one that Lamar Jackson wears. Nobody cares. Man, that's one of my favorite shirts he wears. Nobody cares. Okay? Nobody cares. Channel says, Philadelphia fans have something in the sandwich and they ain't sharing. Super delusional fans. I don't think so. I think they got a lot of talent, man. I do. I think they got a lot of talent. Jay says, Sills doesn't like me, and I effing love it. Hey, man, I told you, the only thing I hate are Nazis. That's it, man. Hey, by the way, dogs, okay? This is absolutely one of the greatest and coolest things that we have done here at JAKIB. Lane Johnson is now being added to the mix here with D. Gunn, Mike Missinelli, Seth. Everybody is going to have themselves an opportunity to watch the greatest post-game show in Philadelphia. And I'm telling you, it's an all-star cast. This is the dream team. This is a dream team post-game show. I don't know if I've ever seen a post-game show with guys like this, especially when you have D. Gunn and Mike, and then you add Seth, the former excellent player and legendary Eagle, and a current guy in Lane. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. Okay? I mean, it's a dream team. And I can't wait to watch it the week of September 11th, man. Fantastic stuff. What an absolute treat that is. You get Seth, the legend, and Lane, Mike Missinelli, a local Philadelphia Eagles and sports talk legendary guy when it comes to talking about the Eagles. Mike has done it forever and one of the legendary voices in Philly. And you got D. Gunn, one of the most respected people on the planet. Man, I can't wait to watch that thing. That thing's going to be spectacular. Hey, I want to hit on Dolphins and Eagles here in a second as well. Please hit the like button. Guys, do me a favor, okay? If you're in the market for an attorney. If you've been hurt or injured on the job, Morgan & Morgan is your company. They are a company that looks out for their clients and will never, ever say this to you. There's no such thing as a fender bender or a small client. They're the biggest firm in the country, too, with over 800 attorneys strong in Philly, New York, and in Florida. Nobody is better when it comes to covering their people and getting them the best compensation that they possibly can for their clients. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. The call is free. The consultation is free. 800-512-1600. Open 24/7, 7 days a week. Do me a favor, too, when you call them, tell them Dan Sileo sent you.
Choosing a lawyer for your injury case, you may ask, does the size of the law firm matter? Well, of course it does. The insurance company, they're huge with unlimited resources. And whether your case is big or small, they're built to bully you out of the money you're owed. But here's the good news. We're big too, the biggest actually. And we're built to fight to make them pay for all that was taken from you. Size is our strength. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Plan your day with confidence.
Definitely want to keep the umbrellas on hand.
And keep your family safe with Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Well over 7 inches of rain.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising right now.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. On TV, on 6abc.com, and on our streaming apps.
And that's when we go severe weather mode and on the air for you.
Action News and AccuWeather. The team you trust.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that. Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Merrill Reese, the legendary voice of the Eagles. 4:30 Eastern time. You know, I raved yesterday about Jeff Stoutland, and I had a couple people remind me of some of the great offensive line coaches in the history of the National Football League. Mike Munchak comes to mind. Dante Scarnecchia of the Patriots comes to mind too. Dante Scarnecchia, in my opinion, you talk about one of the greatest offensive line coaches to ever live, was up in New England. Isn't it funny? Tom Brady had the greatest O-line coach. You know, they always look at it this way too. Belichick. Great. But what's the one thing that makes Saban great too? His assistant coaches. That guy hires the best guys going, even if they have a dent in the fender. Sarkisian, with how that whole thing ended at Southern Cal. Lane Kiffin, how that whole thing ended at Southern Cal. All these guys are successful coaches. Saban, he doesn't give a shit. Same thing up with Bill Belichick. Dante Scarnecchia, Alex Gibb, Hudson Houck. These are three of the greatest offensive line coaches I've ever seen, and Jeff Stoutland is right there. I'll say it one more time to you, as I said yesterday, and I want to emphasize it with a highlighter here. You do not make the playoffs last year without Jeff Stoutland as your O-line coach. He is the most important coach in your locker room. He is the most valuable coach. I don't trust Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon. This guy is the best. He's the best in the sport, college or pro. There is no getting around. When everything is said and done, how many Hall of Famers do you think he ends up having going to Canton? Just as a coach for the Eagles. You got one surefire guy with Jason Kelsey, and you're going to have another guy with Lane who's going to be right there on the doorstep of being considered to be a Hall of Fame guy. Because I'll make this point to you. If that guy that was in Los Angeles, Whitmore, is a Hall of Famer, Lane Kiffin's a Hall of Famer. Or Lane Johnson's a Hall of Famer. I thought that guy in L.A. was good. But he had the longevity pill going for him. Okay? Let's hear your position breakdown between the Eagles and the Bills. We'll do that. I'll get to it. Hey, why don't you just do this? Coach, Bills. Quarterback, Bills. So you think A.J. Brown's a better wide receiver than Stephon Diggs? I don't. And he doesn't have the numbers to prove it. You're looking at it differently. AJ's not better than Stephon Diggs. He hasn't put the production in for it. He hasn't. O-line clearly goes to the Eagles. Running back goes to the Bills. Okay? AJ Brown is not Stephon Diggs. Right. Even AJ Brown is, by the way, he's a top 10, because sometimes in a conversation when you get here with this, you're dogging the other guy, it sounds. AJ's a top 10 guy in my book in the NFL, but he ain't Stephon Diggs, dog. Way off. And the collection of running backs you have are dudes. They're dudes. Their defense is, we'll see. Again, another part of the football team that is wishful thinking. The Bills play in the AFC. Means this. Let me take a look at this. I'm going to show you some of the difference between the Bills and the Eagles this year. I'm going to show you the difference. Okay? You had a layup schedule. Buffalo Bills schedule 2022. On Friday, the Eagles have a layup schedule. It's a layup schedule. Okay? This is who the Bills start out the 2022 season with. Rams, Super Bowl champions. Tennessee, number 1 seed in the AFC last year. Miami, a winning football team from a year ago. Baltimore, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Steelers haven't had a losing season in 15 years. The Chiefs, then they got the bye week. So you're starting out with Rams, Titans, Dolphins, Ravens, Steelers, Chiefs. Yeah. Then you got to come out of the bye and play Green Bay. You get a break with the Jets. You get Cleveland in week 11. Is that the week that Deshaun Watson comes back? Then you got New England, Miami, Cincinnati, and then New England. Good night, almighty. Your wide receiver core is better. We'll see. Okay. Dude, Stephon Diggs is superior to A.J. Brown. Superior. The guys that are in the game today, that are those top 5 guys, are some of the best athletes I've ever seen play in the game. Just delusional if you think AJ's better than Stephon. Just delusional. And right. And Xander's right. Watch this. It's not really a knock on AJ. It's not a knock. That guy's exceptional. This kid, Jamar Chase in Cincinnati, is exceptional. Devontae Adams. Dude. Hey, but watch this. If it came off that I was dogging AJ, I apologize because I don't, because I like the kid. That's not what I'm saying here or doing here. Yeah, okay. Your tight end's better. Yeah. I'll take that. I'll take that. Actually, I think that's incorrect. The Buffalo Bills they were a very good pressure and sack team last year. The Eagles were pathetic. Are you talking about your paper champion defense right now, or the ones that you have produced? Oh, that's right. I forgot. See, you're talking paper champion stuff. They've actually gone out and been one of the better sacking teams from a year ago and pressure teams. Okay? You're talking paper champion stuff. All right, let me move on to this other topic here. Who saves his job? I don't know if that's a good way to put this. Because you could also say this. Who has a better season in 2022, Tagovailoa or Jalen? Tight end's good in Miami. You got Jaylen Waddle. You got Tyreek Hill. You got a pretty good offense. You got a lot of good things going on in Miami right now, man, offensively. I mean, I would even make this. Who do you think's got a better wide receiving core? Jalen Hurts or Tagovailoa? Think Tagovailoa. Tagovailoa, no? Or a push. I'd be comfortable with a push. Tight end's probably the differential. And that slides it to the Eagles. Hurts has a better, the Dolphins, dude, Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. Jaylen Waddle had 1,100 yards last year and 104 catches with a cast of characters playing quarterback for him. He still put the numbers up. Jalen couldn't find Devontae. And that's all they had last year. That's all they had last year in Miami was Jaylen Waddle. And by the way, for the record, and don't take this harsh or don't take this in any other way, Jaylen Waddle was drafted ahead of Devontae. And Jaylen Waddle was always the guy at Alabama that had the higher grade on him than Devontae. It's not a rip, it's a fact. The higher grade was on Waddle. Waddle was the number one option in Alabama before he got hurt. Xander, was it the LSU game? And then Devontae just took off. By the way, it's like this close between him and the other guy. We're not talking like a canyon. Okay? He had 94 more yards than Smith with 40 more catches. 40 more catches is quite a bit. Yeah, and look who his quarterback was. Jacoby Brissett and who else? Tua a couple times. They were in and out of the lineup. Jesus, criminy. Use some common sense and brains. I mean, Jaylen Waddle had a hell of a season with all the chaos going on in Miami with the owner and the head coach. The head coach was being offered bribes, allegedly. Jalen's going to win more games. One, because he's in the NFC. But Tua's going to put up some yards if this kid can stay healthy. If Tagovailoa can stay healthy, he might put up 4,000 yards this year with that wide receiving and tight end that they have. Yes, Sydney, I think one of the improvements that the Dolphins have is their defense. I think they're pretty good. Smith is better than Waddle. He hasn't proven that at all in any other time that they've been healthy together. He's never proven that. When they've been both healthy on the field, Devontae Smith has never proven he was better, even when they were teammates, that he was a better player. Where are you getting that from? Because he won the Heisman? Heisman. Because the Heisman's a real gauge on player success in the NFL. Sign Johnny Manziel. Now, Richard, that could... Injury prone is more where I would go. I don't think Tua's soft. I think he's injury prone. Yeah, I know. Smith has not proven he's better than Waddle in any time when they've ever been healthy. Okay? He's never, anytime I've ever watched those two guys on the field, that's why he got drafted ahead of him. Got drafted ahead of him. Okay? Yeah, well, again, the NFL evaluators, when Bledsoe and all the teams were looking at putting him in a draft chart, Waddle went first. Waddle went first. Let's be honest. The threshold between Waddle and Smith, fair. I said that, though. It totally is. Again, it's like AJ and Stephon. Not really shit-talking here. You're taking it that way. And I'm hoping if it's landing that way, I don't want it to. Dude, I told you Devontae Smith on a different football team is a guy who's going to put up enormous yardage with a true passer. In this offense, he's never going to. Maybe 1,050, 70, 80 catches, 10 touchdowns, shit like that. He's never going to be a 100-catch guy in this offense. Why would you take that offensive running attack away? They've got a balanced attack. You know how many teams don't? Half the league, maybe even a third of the league doesn't have the ability to run the ball the way the Eagles can run the ball. Smitty's going to be better than AJ soon? I don't think that's a big leap for him. You're talking two elite guys again, but I think, he's a better route runner. He's technically sound more so than AJ is because AJ relies on true athleticism and his size. Hey, Big Sills, you are a big hater. On who? Who? Who am I hating on? I'm not hating on anybody. You see, the thing in the NFL, there's players that are ranked ahead of you. This guy's better than this guy. That guy's better than this guy. That's why the NFL players vote on the top 100 players in the league. And it's not media driven. I think this guy's better. Do you know who the NFL players think the best player in the NFL is right now? It's either Aaron Rodgers or Aaron Donald. The media can tell you all you want about who they think it is. Tom Brady here, this and that guy over here. It's Donald and it's Rodgers. They're the two best players in the NFL. And you're not going to like to hear that. But it's facts. Guy's a two-time most valuable player. He's played 17 years and he doesn't have 100 interceptions. He's got 450 touchdowns. He's won 40 games in the last 3 years. Come on, man. Well, if Diggs is not a top 25 player, A.J. Brown's not a top 70 player. The 100 is fraudulent. Of course it is. I think Diggs is a bit overrated. Do you? Really? Yeah, okay. By the way, real quick here. Hey, man, this just in. It's August 23rd. NovaCare Center. I know you watched the show. What are you going to do on special teams? How can you be a football organization and not address this? I mean, really? They have the worst unit in the league. How can you, be so good at building your defense, building your offense up, and have the worst special teams? It's going to cost you in the end. Remember I said this on August 23rd. You're going to be in a game you're winning. Muff punt, something like that, because you didn't put an emphasis on it. You didn't put an emphasis on this. They're going to put these dudes together. They're going to put a team together. Hey, why don't you have a Jeff Stoutland coaching your special teams? I mean, why don't you go out and find the best assistant coach who's the best special teams guy on the planet? You know, John Harbaugh was a special teams guy. No coincidence that his special teams are some of the best in the sport, and he wins games with that team. I mean, the Eagles have the worst unit in the league. Dan, what do you think of Pascal over Watkins? I think both those guys are making the team. I think it's coming down between Kane and Rager. So how about Kane? Watch this. Let me just show you how effed up it is in Philly when it comes to Jalen Rager. Kane has put the work in to make the Eagles. Rager is living off of who he is, a first rounder. And they'll keep the first rounder. That's not a winning formula. They keep players like Derek Barnett on that roster because of who they are, not what they've done or what they're capable of doing. There's an equity problem with some of these guys that Howie drafts. He doesn't play the best players. He doesn't. There's a prime example of 2 roster spots that should be given to someone else and not those 2 guys. People are saying they're going to trade Rager. For what? He doesn't have any value. The only reason that Howie Roseman thinks that Jalen Rager has value is because he drafted him number 1. And then when we found out what other teams thought of Baker Mayfield, what did the Panthers trade for Baker Mayfield? A 6th rounder? And he was the number 1 player taken. The Browns were probably floored when there were no takers for Baker Mayfield, who was the number 1 pick. The number 1 pick at a valued position like quarterback. You couldn't get any more than a 6th rounder? And you guys think you're going to get a 4th rounder for Jalen Rager? Why? Because he was drafted in the 1st round? Let me spell it out for you. B-U-S-T. He's a bust. You don't trade assets away for non-football players. And yet he has a roster spot as of at least today. We'll see if he makes the 53. He doesn't deserve it. Okay? Hey, trade Rager for a bottle of stateside vodka. I don't believe stateside vodka would make that deal. I don't. I like the kid Kane. I think the kid's pretty good, man. All right, hour 2 coming up here. We got here. Let me say here. Don't forget, we got Merrill Reese. Okay. Xander says this. I'm a Rager fan. Bounce back season incoming. Okay. Year 4. I sure hope so. This guy's on a GI plan. This guy's on a GI bill. I mean, whoa. Oh, okay, 3rd year. I forgot, man. I couldn't keep my years correct on him. Oh, man. Oh, man. Hey, Merrill Reese, 4:30 Eastern time. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Plan your day with confidence.
Definitely want to keep the umbrellas on hand.
And keep your family safe with Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Well over 7 inches of rain.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising right now,
keeping you prepared wherever you watch. On TV, on 6abc.com, and on our streaming apps.
And that's when we go severe weather mode and on the air for you.
Action News and AccuWeather. The team you trust.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that. Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Hour 2, National Football Show. It's your boy Big Sills. Bottom of the hour, Merrill Reese will join us. Can't wait to talk to the legendary voice of the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, we look forward to talking with him. And please hit the like button. Let me revisit a topic from yesterday. You think you have enough with Miles Sanders, Gainwell, and Boston as a committee to win ball games? You think that's enough to improve your offense with the same group of players? And teams are going to be game planning against your running attack. So you think you can win with these guys? We put a possible trade out. It did very well, too, by the way. Would you send Minshew to Cleveland to get Kareem Hunt, and they would send Hunt and a 2 back. Somebody in Cleveland goes, why would we do this? Well, because you would have the best substitute teacher next to Nick Foles in the NFL. He wouldn't cost you an arm and a leg. He's a backup quarterback. And you get Deshaun Watson, and maybe you could trade and send out Jacoby Brissett somewhere. He's better than Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew. Remember, this is about the backup quarterback in Cleveland right now. Someone goes, why would I trade for a backup quarterback? Well, you're going to start a backup quarterback. And he's not better than the backup quarterback in Philly. And there's a need at the quarterback position, and it's a higher valued position than a running back. You know what's delusional? You should actually hear Cleveland Brown fans think that they could get a 1 for Kareem Hunt. Can you tell me the last running back you can remember that was traded for a 1? Can you tell me a running back that could just comes to your mind that has been put on the open market and you got a first rounder in return for him? But Brown fans think I thought the same thing, Trent Richardson. I thought the same thing, but I could have swore they were 2s and 3s. When they maybe I think it was Trent Richardson. That's the guy. That came to my mind too. Okay, wasn't it like Cleveland to Indy, right? Something like that. Herschel Walker in the 90s. Excuse me, now it's 80s. Ricky Williams. So no one recently. But yet Brown fans think you're getting a 1, 2, or 3 for that guy. You're out of your mind. And he's going to want a contract. This is what you do with Kareem Hunt, my opinion. You bring him in. You let him get on the open market. And he'll find out what his value is. And you could sit there and look at him and go, here's $5 million. Because I'd rather pay Kareem Hunt $5 million than that broken papier-mâché Miles Sanders. $5 million. And I would never pay him $2.5 million. That's the money he makes now. He's overpaid. Miles Sanders is an overpaid player on the Eagles because he's always hurt. Yeah, but Danny's a good player. Good player that's always hurt. That's always a good formula for success. Sure. We have the quarterback that can run. We're good. Why in the world would you want to continue that trend of running your quarterback like that as the number one focus? Name me one place in the National Football League where that is the number one option for a quarterback. It's not even in Baltimore. They don't want Lamar running the ball. They want him to do what he did a couple years back when he led the NFL in passing touchdowns. What is the one place that the quarterback is led by his rushing attack and not his arm? Is there a place? My point is you got to try to improve the running game. So you bring in a guy like Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is dying on the vine in Cleveland. I don't care if he wants to play in Cleveland. He's never going to be the number one guy in Cleveland because of Chubb. He's never. That's right, Jeremiah. Philly's the only place that the number one thing that they do with their quarterback is his quarterback is the lead dog in the running attack. Can't have that. It's a disaster waiting to happen. So again, Gainwell and Boston Scott are dudes. Could somebody shake loose in the next 2 weeks? Yes. Always happens. You see somebody that ends up being out there. that comes in like a LeGarrette Blount or somebody that could come in and improve your running attack. Because here, I'll say this to you. Miles Sanders does not have a chokehold on that starting position. It's got to be one of the only positions on the Eagles that a player doesn't have a chokehold on it. Lane Johnson has a chokehold on that right tackle spot. Jordan Mailata has a chokehold on that spot. Jason Kelce has a chokehold on that spot. Dickerson has a chokehold. Isaac Seumalo, after the second week of camp, he put a chokehold on it. There's no positions to be won there at that group. AJ's got a chokehold on it. Devontae Smith's got a chokehold on it. Your running back, you don't. Dude, anybody can walk in there and win that job. That shows you how unstable that is. Especially look at your safety position. Your running back and safety position, anybody off the street could come in and win a gig. Not good. We'll do just fine with Boston Scott. Just a dude. Not very good pass catchers at all. Not one back that's worth it. Gainwell a little bit. Kenyon Drake, it gave him a ton of money, man, and he bombed. I don't know. Maybe Sanders is hurt because he's getting ready for a season or traded. So you put no film on tape for somebody to evaluate you. Jeff Bone, how you doing, brother? Appreciate you coming aboard. Thank you. Trade for Pollard. Cowboys ain't. You see what the Cowboys are doing with Pollard and their offense? Because they're so short-handed at wide receiver, they're lining him up in the slot now. Tony Pollard is getting lined up in the slot in Dallas now. He's playing wide out. They're trying to get both Zeke and him on the field at the same time. That shows you the troubles that the Cowboys are in when it comes to their passing attack. Hurts has a chokehold on RB1. Isn't that crazy? Jalen Hurts has a chokehold as the number one running back in Philly, but not the quarterback spot. Because we're still talking whether or not he's coming back for the 2023 season. Tells you they'd rather have him as a running back. Hey, maybe that's an option next year. Pollard, 800 grand. What a shame. Nice and eagle. Hey, unbelievable, man. Looks like we got some roster moves here. The Eagles have waived tackle Jared Williams, running back DeAndre Torrey, and cornerback Josh Blackwell. Tackle guard Brett Tooth and tight end Tyree Jackson have been placed on injured reserve. That's the PUP list. Okay. Not significant names there. Okay. Not significant, I don't think, because the Eagles are so deep. Oh, no, Xander. I'll tell you what, though, man. Can I see that one more time, though, Xander? I want to show somebody something here. Okay, you see the tackle, Brett Tooth? They're hiding him. They're hiding him. You put him on the player unable to perform list, the PUP list. I think you get an opportunity to come off like after week 6, if I'm not mistaken. So you're hiding that guy. You must like him, okay? Because you just went out and out-waive him. So they're hiding him. They'll probably take him from the PUP list to the practice squad. They must like the kid. Xander just said McMullen likes him. Keith says, Sills, when do you see Hurts getting benched? I don't. He's not getting benched this year. He's not getting benched. SB Nation did an article on your Dean Cain take. I'll have to take a look at that. Thank you for reminding me. Hey, once you send that article over to my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show, I'd like to hear that. I'd like to read that. I think Deon Cain has put the work in to make the roster. He'll probably end up, in my opinion, on the practice squad. Isn't that funny? Jalen Reagor will make the active roster and shouldn't. And they'll put that guy on the practice squad. Crazy. They would never do something like that, in my opinion, in New England. Hurts is not safe. We have 2 first-round picks. Name, you're talking about next April. I'm talking about September 11th. Hurts is the best running, not in passing. People calling him a runner is truth. He is a runner. Howie's probably working a trade with Reagor right now. Bro, it would be a package deal with Dillard or somebody like that. He's not a stand-alone trade guy. Jalen Reagor's not a stand-alone trade guy. His numbers are terrible. He's not a stand-alone guy. Now, how sometimes players get dealt and they land somewhere else, maybe somebody in a personnel department like Jalen Reagor, and think maybe because all these coaches and personnel people sometimes think a different environment can help a player when they change the zip code. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. You see a guy go somewhere else and you're like this. Wow. Remember something. Now, this is college, though. You know what Nick Saban told Alvin Kamara? We got pretty deep here. And they were. But you know this? So Nick Saban told Alvin Kamara, you know what, man? We don't really have a lot of room for you here at Alabama. So he goes to Tennessee, and this guy's one of the best dual backs in the league. I mean, you can't see – Ohio State had Joe Burrow. They let his ass roll too. It happens. Stoutland's next project, improve the backups. After what I saw, what they did against Cleveland, pretty much I was impressed. We got Minshew for a 6th, right? Yeah, his value is already increased. Teams call for him all the time. I wonder what sold Howie not to deal Gardner Minshew to the Colts and then them sign. Here, let me show you something that shows you a little bit of Howie thinking about other things other than winning football. Who would you rather have as your backup quarterback, Nick Foles or Gardner Minshew? Who do you think the Eagles would rather have? Gardner Minshew or Nick Foles? Or who's better? Howie took this into consideration. Well, we don't want to have that go back in the locker room again to potentially upset the locker room because everybody loves Nick. Nick's revered. What's that got to do with winning? What does that have to do with winning? I'm trying to accumulate the best players that I possibly can get. I would have took Nick Foles over Gardner Minshew any day. Any day. That O-line likes blocking for him. He said, nah, let me just stick with Gardner. And by the way, I think Minshew's fine. But I'd rather have Nick. How could you not want to have Nick? Well, because they're afraid that can you imagine this? So what would be the problem of having a quarterback with a great presence in a locker room that demands respect like Nick Foles? You would have Nick Foles and Jalen Hurts in the locker room together and commanding respect every time they stepped on the field. What's so wrong with that? It's your insecurity. That's the problem you have. Taco goes 5 years ago was Foles. Hey, Taco, in that process, he's been coached by Doug Marrone in shitty Chicago. I don't know. How are any other quarterbacks faring at those places? Justin Fields looks like he's falling on his face. Trevor Lawrence has to be saved by bringing in an experienced coach like Doug Peterson after what Meyer did to him. I mean, is there any, maybe he was not coached well at these last two spots and he got the best coaching when he was in Philly in his career? Doug Peterson, Frank Reich. Could have been possible. That was the best coaching he's had. No one ever looks at it that way. Nick Foles has been coached shitty the last 5 years. He's been in horrible places. The Chicago Bears are the worst team in the league. Worst O-line in the league. And that shit show Meyer had down there in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence got caught up in the wash. Should have kept Foles over Wentz. Richard. Alshon Jeffries catches that pass in New Orleans. I think they do that. Boston Scott and Gainwell are dudes. I think they're good enough to win, though. Your real need is at safety. Okay? That's your big hole. Because why? Man, when things go wrong with the Eagle offense, what can you always resort to? A fist fight. A fist fight. Watch this. Man, our passing game's not working. All right, let's slug it out. You're going to win that. That's a great option. When you're playing Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers knows you got a big, giant hole in the middle of your defense, you don't think he's going to attack that? You don't think Justin Jefferson's going to run free across the middle with them safeties? You don't have a safety in the league that can cover that guy coming across the middle. What help are you getting with him? And by the way, Justin Jefferson versus Darius Slay. Yeah, I think the guy in Minnesota is going to win that one. Okay? He's going to win that one. It's not 2017. Okay? Sills, if Hurts misses 2 games from injury, does he get the job back? They're going to give it to him. Dude, they understand this, name brand. The Philadelphia Eagle ownership love Jalen Hurts. They want him to win this job. And not just for 2022, 2023, for the next 5 years. Because they're hoping to get a hometown cooking deal on it. Where they don't have to put up $50 million or $45 million. Bro, when Joe Burrow and his deal comes up, you're talking $500 million. Jalen's not in that conversation. It's going to be a short-term 3-year contract at $40 per if he crosses the finish line this year. If he crosses it. And maybe even how he crosses it. How he crosses it. That guy is good. Dude, how about this? If Joe Burrow next year comes out on the free agent market, how much money would you pay Joe Burrow to come quarterback the Philadelphia Eagles? How much would you pay him annually? Somebody says I'm crazy. How much would you pay him to quarterback in Philadelphia? What do you think the asking price is going to be? It was $260 million in or $230 in guarantees in Cleveland and 3 first-rounders? Bro, you may have to give Cincinnati your next 5 first-rounders, and you're going to have to pay him $50 million north of that. Probably a 10-year contract, too. He may want all of it guaranteed. Blank check, Michael. Hey, Michael, I actually maybe like the blank check. Don't forget, Merrill Reese, bottom of the hour. We're going to talk to our friend, the legendary voice of the Eagles, and we'll talk with him. Hey, I got one for you here before we get Merrill on. I'm going to pick my offense and defensive preseason MVPs for the team. I'm going to go offense first. who I think is going to be your offensive MVP. I'm going with Dallas Goddard. I think he's going to have 100 catches. And I think he's going to have 1,200 yards. And you're going to start talking about him like you do Kittle, the kid in Baltimore, Travis Kelce in Kansas City. I think he's going to be – that's my preseason pick. Okay? That's my preseason pick for the Eagles offensive MVP. For the defensive MVP, this is a little bit more trickier here. Can't be dropping softballs at your feet to get intercepted like that, Mr. Goddard. Hey, I'm having wishful thinking, Xander. I can have wishful thinking too, that he's going to catch everything in sight. Let me have some of it too. I'm going to have to get back to you on the defensive side of that, though. Dallas Goddard, man, I'm expecting a huge year from the guy. I really am. I'm expecting a huge year, man. All right. Speaking of a huge year, I cannot wait to talk to Merrill Reese here. I mean, if there was a Super Bowl trophy that was given out for the preseason, boy, I'll tell you something, man. I don't think there's a team in the league. And by the way, it's just not local people. It's now people around the country really hyping up this Philadelphia Eagle team. So far with what you've seen in camp, I mean, Merrill, is it justified?
Well, it's premature. It's somewhat justified based on the talent of this team. It's based on the roster. But Super Bowl champions are not put together in the preseason and in the training camp. I mean, they're not defined by that. They're defined by the war of attrition, a long 17-game season, how they hit the playoffs, who's hurt when they play certain teams. There is so much that goes into it, Dan, as you know, and there was nobody saying these things about the Eagles prior to the 2017 season, and you know what happened then. So it's the enthusiasm is certainly justified, but I stay away from using those two words, the S and the B, until we get a lot deeper into the season. There was a time in 2017, and Carson Wentz was still healthy at that time, and at that point, looking like the MVP of the league, where we were starting to say, this team could go the distance. But it was with fingers crossed, and then, of course, when Carson Wentz went down at the Rams, we said, well, there goes that. And so you never really know. But I think enthusiasm about this team is justified because they are talented and deep in a lot of areas.
Merrill, can you take me back to that season? Was it prior to the Rams game when he got hurt, where you guys were all doing this, you and Mike Quick in the booth going like this? Hey, man, this thing's building up some steam here. And with the way that the NFC is playing out, they could be in the conversation at the end of the year. I mean, and I understand he gets hurt in that Rams game, but prior to that, was it week 10, 11 that you guys had seen a sample size enough that where you went, this team's legit here?
You know what, Dan? It was before that. I mean, it was an amazing thing the way this team came down that stretch. It was absolutely amazing. I will never forget the way they played that year. It was, if I may just put on my glasses for a moment here and look back at my media guide and go through that 2017 season. They started out with a win at Washington, then a loss, and after that they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight games.
Wow!
Before they lost another game, 9 straight games. So somewhere along that line, maybe after they won 5 or 6 in a row, we were starting to think, you know what, this team's got a shot.
What have you seen so far being around the team this year in 2022 that's drastically different from the 2021 team?
Well, there's more talent, that's for sure. Number one, I think that Jalen Hurts is prepared to take a big step forward. This is his second year as a starter, going into the season as the starter. And it's also the second time that he has played with the same offensive coordinator and coaches and system going all the way back to high school. So he's in the right frame of mind. He's growing day by day. The arm has always been there. The athletic ability has always been there. So I think we're going to see a more seasoned Jalen Hurts. Now, I tweeted something that got a rise out of some people the other day, and you always point out that it's my 102nd consecutive year doing the games or whatever it is. But in my tenure, this is the most talented group of wide receivers the Eagles have ever had.
Wow.
Isn't that
is quite a statement?
It is. It is. Now, I said that on our pregame show, and the host, Glenn Macnow, on our pregame show, we have a talk back, said to me, Merrill, you got to go back to 1982. They had your partner, Mike Quick, and they had the great Harold Carmichael. And they did. But you know what? Mike Quick was a rookie, and he had 10 catches that year. And Harold Carmichael was in his last full year as an Eagle, and he was no longer in his prime. If you look at this group of wide receivers, if you look at Devontae Smith, if you look at A.J. Brown, Quez Watkins in the slot he can just blow the tires off the car. He is so fast. And then they picked up Zach Pascal, who I didn't think much about, but Nick saw him in Indianapolis, and Nick Sirianni said, I want him, and he is a lock to be the number 4. So you have guys fighting for a roster spot. Who's going to be number 5, and could they keep 6 if they keep Britton Covey, who I think has great return ability? But Jalen Reagor, a number 1 draft choice, who has been a bit of a disappointment, is still in a fight to make the roster. Greg Ward, who's been a terrific receiver. He's done everything they've ever asked him to do, but he has had a toe injury and has not seen any action in the preseason. These are guys who have really they're fighting for roster spots. And then this is no secret. I'm not giving there are no secrets in the NFL. The scouts, the pro personnel people, they know who's on every roster, and they get videos of all the games. But I will tell you, one of the most impressive guys all summer has been Deion Kane.
He has.
He has been unbelievable. Kid out of Clemson. He's been terrific. And then nobody said much until last week when he hauled in a 55-yard touchdown pass. Devin Allen, who played at Oregon in 2016, hasn't played football in 6 years, has some Olympic gold medals, and runs like a deer. Or flies like a jet, whatever it is. But he hauled one in for 55 yards, and the nearest defensive backs were 10 yards behind him. How's he going to make this team?
He's probably going to end up, because special teams, and I'll get to that in a minute, he'd be a good special teams guy that I'd like to try out back there. But you're right about Kane. I watch this kid Kane. He jumps for the ball. He goes after it. He's athletic. They're going to have hard decisions to make at that wide receiver position, to say the least here. I want to slide you over.
Mike Quick, by the way, on one of those catches last week, invented a term. He said he just mossed the defensive back.
I said,
the derivation of that, Randy Moss? He said, absolutely. He really mossed him.
Yeah, no, he gets up and goes after that ball, man. Yeah. I'm a fan of him, and I'd love to see him make that team. I'm going to throw something at you here, Merrill. And I said this yesterday, and I went on and on about it. I watched that second group of offensive linemen that Jeff Stoutland coached, and I couldn't tell the difference between the first group and the second group. Dante Scarnecchia, Alex Gibb, Hudson Hawk, Jeff Stoutland, I put him in that conversation.
Yep.
He is maybe the most important coach, position-wise, in that building. He's the best offensive line coach in the NFL. Those guys were knocking people off the ball. when you have 31 plays and 2 drives, you own the clock, 17 play drives, 14 play drives. I mean, Merrill, they're going to have a very difficult decision on what to do with some of them O-linemen, because that whole entire second group with Jack Driscoll and those guys and Andre Dillard, they could start in New York for the Giants, all 5 of those guys.
Well, I was going to ask you this question. I mean, you asked me the questions. I was going to ask you, because you know the league as a whole more than I do. I mean, I'd have a tough time naming the 5 starting offensive linemen for the Los Angeles Chargers, say, but you know the league right now. I concentrate on this football team and the team they just played and the team they're playing next week. I do it week by week. But it just seems to me there are probably 6 or 7 teams whose starting offensive line units aren't as good as the Eagles' second unit offensive line.
Agreed. Merrill, I said this yesterday. I go, if you don't make the Philadelphia Eagles starting 5 in the offensive line, there's no shame in that, because you would make, I would say, 75% of the league around anywhere. I mean, look at the Buccaneers. They're in tatters right now in the O-line. The Jets are terrible. The Bears are atrocious. That's why I say this about Andre Dillard. You know, Merrill, Howie has 2 of the best safety belts going. If something, God forbid, happens to Lane Johnson or Jordan Mailata, you have a frontline first-round guy in Andre Dillard that you can just plug in there as a starter. God forbid Jalen gets nicked up like he did a little. You got Gardner Minshew that you can plug in. Right now, you're not going to have a gigantic drop-off right there. He's not going to carry your football team across the finish line, and I'm not suggesting in any way he's as good as Jalen, but he can hold the fort down until – boy, I'll tell you, the depth level on this team, I only see the Bills' better depth. And when it comes to that O-line, I've never seen anything like it, Merrill. I've never seen anything like it.
You're right, Dan. And here's the funny thing. Once upon a time, the Eagles drafted a defensive end in the first round out of Michigan. And Eagles Nation went wild because they traded up to get him, and everybody wanted the Eagles to pick Earl Thomas because they felt they needed a safety. And Earl Thomas went on to have a great career.
Great career.
Meanwhile, the guy they drafted very quickly was getting the B word. Oh, he's a bust. And then he got injured, and he didn't show anything for several years. But we know now that Brandon Graham has turned out to be somebody who will one day be in the Eagles Hall of Fame. He's one of their most popular and productive players of all time. So the same could be said of Andre Dillard. When he joined this team, he really, frankly, was not very impressive early. No. And then one time he had to go over and play right tackle, and it was a disaster. They took him out after halftime. Well, he came back this year, and we were calling him a bust. And he came back this year. I don't know where. I know this. He spent a lot of time in the weight room, but he came back a different football player, and you see him every day winning the one-on-ones. I mean, he's more than just competent. He's more than just a decent backup. He has made himself, along with the help, of course, of Stout, he's made himself, and they've made him, a starting caliber offensive lineman who can start, because you have Jordan Mailata, who's going to be in the Pro Bowl for the next 12 years.
Absolutely here. Merrill, the big conversation has been about the running back position. Do you think Gainwell and Boston Scott and Miles Sanders, and by the way, you know, I don't know what it is with the Penn State backs as of late. I was talking to Mike Missinelli about it. I go, what do you got, papier-mâché guys up there at Penn State here now with Barkley and with Miles Sanders? He goes, oh, we've had the great. I go, relax. I get it. He's a good player. But, I mean, he's always hurt, and you know this. Durability and availability is always part of a process and an evaluation for every NFL player. Do they have enough to improve the offense with this group, again, to help Jalen Hurts in the run game?
Yeah, they're fine. Miles is fine. He's had a little nick here and there, but he's absolutely fine, and he's a great back. Boston Scott is Mr. Electricity. I mean, he is so fast, and he hits the hole. I mean, he's 5'6", but, is he powerful. and he can catch. And Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis, he's a terrific football player. So those three alone, if they carry three, are fine. It's a strength, not a weakness. And if they have to go four deep, the other guy they have on the roster who's been impressive is Jason Huntley. He's a pretty good back, and he's very, very fast.
Let me go over to the safety side on the defense. Is that a concern for you as we get ready going in? Because they've been trying a bunch of guys out back there. They've addressed pretty much every single area of the football team. But do you think what you're seeing, it's good enough again because of the improvement of the linebacker and defensive line play?
Well, I think that's part of it. But Kayvon Wallace has had a very strong preseason. There's an undrafted free agent. Here's a name. I don't know if you've ever heard this. And I say that knowing that you've probably heard every name ever invented. But this kid came out of Middle Tennessee as an undrafted free agent. And his name is Reed Blankenship. And he's very good. He's fit in very well. I'm not anointing him a starter.
I get it.
But I think he makes a roster spot. I think he's very, very good. I think they'll be fine. I really do. Again, there's some mixing and matching that goes on, but the corners are so good right now. I mean, big play Slay, he's great, and James Bradbury. I mean, he's really, really good, and you'll have a tough time finding a better nickel corner than Avonte Maddox.
I want a couple last questions here. I got two questions for you here, or maybe even a statement here. I've got some friends in the Cleveland Brown organization, and I want to tell you what they said about Devontae. They were blown away by his route running, his athleticism, and his shake and bake off the line of scrimmage. That they couldn't believe how much bigger he got from a year ago. That, again, remember when he came from Alabama, I was like, hey man, that guy he's gonna have to have some Happy Meals, okay, to get that weight up. And I think he has. I mean, you should hear them raving about him, Merrill. I mean, expecting a big season out of him, no?
Oh yeah. Now I don't know how big a season any one player is going to have because you have three out there and there's only one football. But Jalen Hurts is going to drop back and have his choice of Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and the guy you were talking about when we went on the air, Dallas Goddard. You're talking about some targets. And then I threw in Quez Watkins, who is generally in the slot, and he is a flat-out burner.
Last question here, and I saved it for the end. Are you in the camp that Jalen Hurts has won this job for the next 5 years?
Yes. Now, let me just go back. Do I believe he will win this job for the past 5 years? Yes, but he's got to play well this year. He's got to continue his improvement. I think he's terrific. I think he is going to step up, and I think he's going to be everything they want in a starting quarterback. I think he's got it all. I think he's got an underrated arm. I think he's got a great capacity to lead. He's a tremendous athlete. His teammates love him. So do I believe that he will win this job going forward? I do. I think he's the quarterback for the future. He's the quarterback of the future. Most people will say, even those who are not down on Jalen Hurts, he's got to really take several big steps this year. He's got to prove this, and this. Well, I'll go as far as to say I think he will answer those calls. I think he will check all those boxes, and I believe he will be the guy.
You just to expand it a little bit, though, you do believe that decision then with the owner and the GM has not been decided yet.
Well, I think they like him. I think they're optimistic, but I think they want to see what season number 2 as a starter season.
The reason I say that, Merrill, is because when I look at Josh Allen in Buffalo, there's no debating he's the guy for the next 10 years.
Yeah, but how about after the first year?
No. I understand. I get it. You're right. This is going into year 2 as a starter. I get it.
What I'm saying is, at this point, Jalen Hurts hasn't achieved what Josh Allen did last year. I mean, last year he was one of the best quarterbacks in football. So I think that this year Jalen Hurts has got to show what he has. I don't think anything at this point is set in stone, but I think that if you ask Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman the same question you asked me, do you believe that he can step forward and be a franchise quarterback? I think they will both say yes. But is it a lock? Nothing is a lock when he's just going into his second year as a starter.
And nothing's a lock in the NFL. Hey, did you go on the road? Did you go to Cleveland for the game?
Not really. We did that remotely. And
are you going to be traveling this year?
Yes, I am going to be traveling.
Oh, that's fantastic. You got to be so excited. Wait a minute. Except for DC, Orlando, over Maryland.
Yeah, except for DC. I was thinking of doing that remotely, but then I said, nah. Once the season starts, wherever they are, we are. No doubt about it. I will tell you that we'll be doing the Miami game remotely too.
Okay.
Have you ever been to Hard Rock Stadium?
I have.
Do you realize that the radio conditions are worse than they are in Washington?
Yes.
It's a glass enclosed booth, which I hate anyhow. You're glassed in. It's in a corner of the end zone, and you can't see a third of the field. It is a mess. I'm going to ask you something. Why should I go all the way to Miami to watch the game off a monitor?
And Merrill, I'm going to ask. Okay, I've got to do this then. You see, I refuse to go to that building because I played at the Orange Bowl.
That's right.
But I was at Miami plays at this shitty place, the Hard Rock, and I hate the place. I totally do. Come on, Merrill. Lincoln Financial or the Vet, where would you rather call a game?
Of which of those two stadiums?
Between the Vet and Lincoln Financial. If you had to call one game, you had those two places to pick. What place would you pick?
Lincoln Financial.
Over the Vet? Holy cow.
Wait a minute, Dan, I'm doing a game at the Vet with Mike Quick, and I happened to sit there and look over at Mike, and there was some green liquid coming through the ceiling, landing on his head.
I thought it was a dead cat.
No, that was down below us. I'm just happy the press box didn't come unhinged and end up in the 200 level. I mean, you remember when the stands collapsed and the West Point cadets fell to the ground. You remember that?
Hey, Merrill, when I was on the field, I remember going over to Jerome and going, "Don't you guys cover up second base?"
Well, do you remember the game? We're there to do a preseason game with the Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens, and Brian Billick.
He took his team off the field.
He took them home. We didn't do the game. We all went home. It never came up because there were metal staples that had come out from the seams that were all over the field. He didn't want his players to land on metal staples. You couldn't blame him. So you're asking me, but I'd rather give the
Only
Vet.
Merrill Reese can give us the stories of that. I love Lincoln Financial too.
The other thing to remember is the Vet was a multi-purpose stadium. The Link is a football stadium. There is no such thing as a multi-purpose stadium that is good for all sports. It's not possible. The Link is one of the great stadiums in the United States. It's one of my favorite places, and I say that not just because it's the Eagles, but it's a wonderful stadium. And there are others. I love MetLife Stadium. I love the Giants Stadium. I think that's a great stadium. I will never, ever like or appreciate a dome stadium. I just don't. I think football's an outdoor game, and I love to see them battle the elements and everything else. I love that. I love Lambeau Field for its history, but even though they've added the super boxes and they've modernized it, it's kept its great integrity and its character. So there are a lot of, there are some wonderful stadiums. I can't name them all, and I haven't been in the new stadium in Los Angeles, and I hear that's wonderful. I think Atlanta. I think Mercedes-Benz. I think that's a great stadium because I've been there when they've pulled back the dome, and it's not just a hole in the roof. You're in an outdoor stadium. That's a really good one. that comes to
That
mind.
place in Houston's pretty good too.
Reliant, yeah.
That place that's pretty good. I've been to the new SoFi stadium. That thing is remarkable. The new Cowboy stadium I've been to.
Not
one in Minneapolis.
Not my favorite. Not my favorite.
The one in Minneapolis is pretty cool looking too. That thing up there where the Vikings play.
Don't love it. Don't.
No, really.
Don't love it.
Because you're going from because of the booth, probably.
Well, we're sitting in a corner of the end zone. You don't expect me to like it. And also, can I tell you one thing? The level where you're up there with the broadcasters is not the same level that the people are on in the press box.
Huh.
And for about 50 people, there's one men's room.
Oh my God. Hey, did you like RFK?
Did I like RFK?
Yes.
We sat way up at RFK, and we had those little stools that kind of you pulled out like you ate at the lunchroom when you were in second grade. RFK was always a dump. I mean, always a dump. But but I'll tell you this: I like RFK better than I like FedEx.
Hey, Merrill, thank you so much, man. A lot of fun with you, man. I appreciate it. It's going to be a whale of a season. Thank you for taking so much time with me. I appreciate it, my friend.
See you, Dan.
You got it. Merrill Reese, please hit the like button. Thank you so much. Do me a favor. If you guys are in the market now for looking for an attorney, for you to be able to get fair compensation for you and your family, if you've been hurt or injured on the job, there's only one place, and that is Morgan & Morgan. Promise you, with over 800 attorneys and offices in Philadelphia, New York, and in Florida, there's not a bigger attorney firm in the entire country. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. Open 24/7, 7 days a week. 800-512-1600. And when you call Morgan & Morgan, do me a favor, tell them Dan Sileo sent you.
Many times when people are injured at a place of business, they don't realize they may have a case. The fact is, injuries should not happen. And most of the time when someone is injured, someone is at fault. Maybe the store manager installed a cheap, slippery floor, or there wasn't proper security. After an injury at a hotel, restaurant, store, or any place of business, it's so important to call us. Time matters, size matters. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Plan your day with confidence.
Definitely want to keep the umbrellas on hand.
And keep your family safe with Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Well over 7 inches of rain.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising right now.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch, on TV, on 6abc.com, and on our streaming apps.
And that's when we go severe weather mode and on the air for you.
Action News and AccuWeather, the team you trust.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that. Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Merrill Reese was like, the vet. He's like, F the vet. Yeah, Lincoln Financial, man. Oh, man. All the cats that used to be over there at the vet, too. There's like a ton of cats that used to live at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Please hit the like button. I am going to rank my concerns with the Eagles as we get ready for the final exhibition game against the Dolphins on Saturday. Controlled scrimmages with the Dolphins on Thursday and Friday, like last week with the Browns. So I'll throw that at you there. I want to say this real quick about Carson Wentz here. You know, you look at a guy like that and you see all the physical tools and all the physical assets that he has, but you think there's been a lot of positive conversation coming out of Washington this offseason? And even during camp? Do you think there's been positive accuracy issues, overselling that he's a leader? We're very happy. Then you watch him against Kansas City and you see some of the same fundamental traits that kills that guy in games. Pat, 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 go to your left, sack. Man, dude. Then you watch a guy like Josh Allen. Pat, 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 tap the feet, dart, touchdown. He just throws it, gets it out there. You know what's funny? Josh Allen looks at it like this. I'd rather have an interception down there in the goal line than take a sack for 10 yards, punt, field position changes. They have a short field and they score. That's what kills Carson Wentz. The guy, man, he just moves around in the pocket with zero presence. He's got zero pocket presence, man. Just zero. But get this. If nobody rushes him like Jonathan Gannon and nobody puts pressure on him, he'll eat Gannon's defense apart. You watch it. I said that. You watch. If Gannon doesn't put pressure on Wentz and he knows he can't take it, and you let that bend but don't break, Carson Wentz will throw for 365 yards on you. Guarantee you. Guarantee you. That guy's mentality, Jonathan Gannon's mentality, is going to cost him a football game for that football team. Okay, something else. I said this earlier, and I want to make sure everyone understands where I'm coming from with this, with Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor survives the cuts because they're trying to move him. And once again, Howie is looking at one of his draft choices with more value in his eyes than what the rest of the league sees. He's going through the Baker Mayfield experience right now. Cleveland Browns thought that they were going to get enormous return value for Baker Mayfield. They got a 6 for him. And the Browns had to pick the money up. The Browns even had to pick the money up. So, I mean, or at least 70% of the money. Reagor's not tradable. In a package, he is. And by the way, the guy, Jesse Bates, he signs that tender and that franchise tag. I think it's like 12 something. Now you'd have to give up a first rounder to Cincinnati. That's not happening. So you're going to go into it with guys that you're going to find on the cut wire to come in. Watch this. I guarantee you Howie Roseman picks up a couple safeties in the last cuts, and you're going to be taking dudes off the street and putting them on your roster to play safety this season. You don't really have very good safeties. They're kind of okay, some of them. I wouldn't go like this. I'm starting that guy. And the kid from San Francisco, he had a couple spot plays this past weekend, but I am not sitting here going, that guy's impressive. Bradbury's impressive. He looks like a player. This kid Tart, whatever, he doesn't look like a player. He looks like he's out of gas or something. I don't know. I don't see it. Okay? I don't see it. Gannon will be good. Eagles defense will be, again, easy money. All paper stuff. You have no idea what that team is going to do. this coming season. And with the defensive coordinator, so with all the talent that they have, and you got a soft mentality of a defensive coordinator, you think they're going to be better. How about this? The coordinator has to show me. Okay? I know. How about Merrill Reese dropping Moss in there? I know, right? To be fair, Tart hasn't really gotten acclimated yet. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's fair enough. All right. Hour number 3 coming up. Please hit the like button. Coach is on the hot seat. I'm going to rank my concerns with the Eagles as we get ready for the final exhibition game against the Dolphins on Saturday. Please hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
Plan your day with confidence.
Definitely want to keep the umbrellas on hand.
And keep your family safe with Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Well over 7 inches of rain.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising right now.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. On TV, on 6abc.com, and on our streaming apps.
And that's when we go severe weather mode and on the air for you.
Action News and AccuWeather. The team you trust.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that. Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Hour 3, National Football Show. It's your boy, Big Sills. Please hit the like button. Thank you so much for coming aboard. We got a bunch of stuff in this hour. Surprise teams, I got 4 of them. My concerns with the Eagles, I got 5 concerns. I want to hit on that. We're going to hit that up here in a second here. But I also want to take a little time on doing this here. How do I do this? My one of my dearest friends passed away today in 2017. It was Cortez Kennedy. If you guys know that. Okay. And he passed away. And I posted my invitation that I got when I went to the Hall of Fame to get him inducted into the Hall of Fame. He sent me and a couple other guys because I took him out on my recruiting trip with Jerome Brown. And we took him around. His mother goes like this.
All right, everyone. We had a big sales dropout. I'm going to hit a break and reconnect with Dan. We'll be back on the other side. Oh, here he is. Never mind. Dan, I don't know what happened to you, brother.
Call me California, my friend.
Keep rolling.
You got it. Thank you guys so much. No idea. No idea. He's here and then he's not. Okay. Story of my career. Anyway, so today my boy Jerome passed away. Cortez Kennedy passed away in 2017. And I want to throw some love out to his family. What an absolutely fantastic person. His mom's like this. Don't you get my baby in any kind of trouble. I'm like, why the hell would you think we're going to get your guy in trouble? Jimmy Johnson's like this. No, these guys are staying up. She's like, it's Miami. I'm like, we got him, man. Oh, yeah. Cortez was a fantastic kid, man. So rest in peace, my friend. You are definitely missed, and what a great human being you are, man. So let's get back to it. Please hit the like button. What the hell did Xander put up here for me, man? Xander, what was that thing about 1 million views? Yeah, because everything got erased. Hey, keep liking. We're almost on pace to do 1 million views this month. Wow, man. Wow. We are killing it. By the way, Xander, before we get going in this hour too, put up the new edition. No, not the band. The new addition to the post-game show, the legendary post-game show here on JAKIB Sports. Look at this thing here. Lane Johnson is now joining look at this, Dream Team. This is a dream team here. And we're going to be doing this in line with 6ABC. Right after every Eagle game, he's going to join us either from the locker room, from the field. How great is this going to be? There is not a better post-game show in Philadelphia, TV or radio-wise, than what we have here at JAKIB. You're going to get the legendary Seth, then Lane, present and past, and then a legendary sports talker and Mike Missinelli. And, of course, one of the most connected in is Derek Gunn. That's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. All starts September 11th right here on JAKIB Sports. By the way, make sure you go over and check out John McMullen's work, too, that he's doing covering the camps and such. All the shows, really doing a great job here, and we appreciate everybody coming aboard. Please hit the like button. Thank you so much again. And I want to say this to you. So I'm going to rank my top 5 concerns. I'm going to go from 5 to 1. You guys, and by the way, feel free to add your 5 concerns. What are your 5? You know, maybe that's a better way of looking at this. What are your 5 concerns going into the season? And by the way, this is a football team that I have projected going to the NFC Championship game. I have not wavered off of that. Okay? Not wavered. Have not wavered in any way off that. Okay? What are your 5 concerns? Michael says safety, running back, special teams. Eagles 12-5. Hurts, Gannon. My 5 concerns, VJ says, coaches. Coaching. Look at that. Nick, Gannon. I'm going to add 6 here because you guys just give me one more. Okay, here we go. Man, you have an entire unit that you're going to fill out with dudes that are the lower guys on the roster for your special teams. That's poor preparation. The number one team that you should be working on the first hour of practice should be your special teams, then your offense and defense. You know what's funny? All the great coaches that I've been around, Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson, coaches like that, all started their practices off with special teams. We did 45 to an hour worth of practice on special teams before we even went to individual drills and went to team drills, defense, offense. I don't ever remember not starting out with special teams. We never ended our practice with special teams. Jimmy Johnson made it a priority. That's how we started practice. I was with him for 3 years at Miami and another 2 in Dallas. And I don't ever remember starting a practice off where we didn't start special teams first. And this football team, I don't even know who their unit is. They got to be at the bottom 5 when it comes to the worst special teams units in the league. Now, again, on August 23rd, I'm saying that, but they don't practice it. There's not an emphasis on it. And when I see them in games, they're not really productive. They're just not really productive. So that's a concern. That's 6. 5. I'm sorry, I disagree with Merrill Reese. I don't think the running backs are – I don't think the running backs are – I think they're good enough as a group, but they're not very good pass catchers. The main guy's always hurt. And the other guys, it's one thing to go against 2s and 3s in an exhibition game, but when you're being called on to play in a regular season NFL game, these guys are limited in talent. We see it every time they step on the field. I thought Gainwell and I thought Boston Scott did a nice job against Cleveland last week. Okay. I'm not going to base my entire running back room on going against the Browns 2s and 3s. I think, again, a concern, that's not the major concern, though. Okay? Number 4, I got safety position. There's a gaping hole in your defense. Okay? There's a gaping hole. And if your guys don't get pressure on the quarterback and he doesn't bring blitzes and he plays that soft-ass zone defense, they'll eat that thing apart again. No matter what you've done, they'll eat you up. I think that's a concern, and I think Howie knows that. VJ, don't say gaping hole. Always go there, don't we? Can't take you guys anywhere. Yeah. Number 3, Jalen Hurts. Funny. I couldn't even get Merrill Reese to have conviction on it. He did the same thing Barrett did today. I think he's the guy. He didn't say he is the guy. Even the great Merrill Reese said it. Because I said, so you're sold that he's the quarterback of today and tomorrow. He said yes, and then he goes, let me revisit that. Because he didn't want to have his feet in the fire on that. Because he's not completely sold either. I asked him that question, and he gave me the if he plays well. I understand that. If he plays well. Okay? 5-star breaking. Brett Favre thinks it's wrong for 49ers to let go of Jimmy. Hey, 5-star. It was wrong for Brett Favre to send penis pictures with his Super Bowl ring on it, with his name on it. Fire that one back at him. Jen Sturger was a friend of mine that he sent that to. That's why I always bring that up. I know Jen's father. Okay, played with me at Miami. She went to Florida State, and she's a dear friend. She follows me on Twitter. He's a creep. Favre's a creep. Okay? You think Deshaun Watson? She's like, this guy sends me nude pictures all the time. I'm like, tell your dad. He called the jet management, and that's how that thing got blown up. She goes like this, I don't want to tell my dad. I go, call your father and tell her right now. I go, call your father. And then call me and let me know what your dad says. Hey, yeah. The Jets got a hold of that pitcher, saw his name on the Super Bowl ring. What an idiot. Right? Hey, man, how you doing? Favre. Bro, what are you doing? Jalen Hurts is my number 3 biggest concern. Will he improve as a passer? And I will not be doing this. Well, I think because they added A.J. Brown and he's a second year in a system and what else? What else? I can't think of. Devontae's better. Goddard's better. Now he's going to be better. I know those guys are better. Okay? So Jalen Hurts is number 3. Number 2, the head coach. Nicholas Scalfaro Sirianni. I made that up, but the middle name at least. We'll see if he's improved as an administrator. We'll see if he's improved. Xander goes like this. We finish 11-6, win 1 playoff game. You extend Hurts. Three years. Man, the money's my problem. That's not a $40 million a year player, in my book. When I see $40 million, I see Justin Herbert. I see Josh Allen. I don't see Jalen Hurts. I don't see the ability. He does not have the ability of those other guys that making that money. Xander goes like this. Herbert still ain't done crap in this league. Let him do something before you keep giving this guy all these kudos. Burrow, I get it. Herbert, everyone's kissing his ass like he's Brady. Okay, well, when I watch Justin Herbert play, I think I can win a Super Bowl with him. When I watch Jalen Hurts play, I don't know. I mean, dude, doesn't your eyeball test at all matter? Okay, so wait a minute. If I used Xander's philosophy, why'd you move off of Jimmy Garoppolo then? Jimmy Garoppolo has done shit, and they moved off him. Jimmy Garoppolo is more accomplished as a starting quarterback than many guys that are playing in the game today. So if we apply that Jalen Hurts philosophy to Jalen, how come we can't apply that to a guy like Garoppolo? Garoppolo's been to a Super Bowl. He's won an NFC title. He's been to 2 of the 3 last NFC championship games. He is 38-16. That's doing shit. But the Niners moved off him for a guy who hasn't done shit. You can tell me all you want about Jimmy G stinking. Jimmy Garoppolo and Jalen Hurts have more in common than you think. They look at Jimmy Garoppolo and go, he can't get it over the top. You mean win a Super Bowl? That's why Trey Lance has to win a Super Bowl. Getting to the playoffs, that's a downgrade. That's a step back. That's a step back. This guy here goes like this. That's a terrible take. Really? What has Jalen done? That guy's won ball games. He's 38-16. You know, when you put the record next to Tom Brady and all of his accomplishments and his one loss, that applies, to not just a handful of guys. It's almost like social media when people want to pick out and call someone a racist or not. They apply these statistics when it suits them and their narrative. I look at if the Pro Football Reference puts the one-loss record next to every quarterback, they all get that distinction. What has Herbert done? You're right. So wait a minute. So you'd rather have Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback than Justin Herbert. Who says that with a straight face? You would rather have in Philly Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert. Wow. Please don't answer that, because I'll have far less respect for people who answer the dumb way. You would rather have Jalen Hurts in Philly starting and pay him $40 million instead of paying Justin Herbert $40 million. Man, good night. Good night. Xander goes, oh, wait a minute here. Now I'm not that dumb. You know that. I know. Come on here, man. And Robert goes, neither. Or you would not want Justin Herbert. So do you think the Miami Dolphins are kicking themselves in the head taking Tua over Justin Herbert? You're probably right. They probably like Tua because they took Tua over Herbert. Hey, Chris Greer, really? Try that one on. Tua's our guy. You've been trying to replace him with Brady. You've been trying to replace him with Deshaun Watson. God knew who else. But Tua's my guy. Okay. At least the Eagles weren't jackasses about it. Look at all around. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts than Justin Herbert. Oh, my God. Go Ducks. Hey, man. Good night, almighty. Who in their right mind would say that? Man. Oof. Xander just comes up with a good one here. If Jalen balls out, man, you move those 2 first-round draft choices to move up to get Will Anderson. You got Lawrence Taylor on your team. I think he's better than Michael Parsons. You heard it here. I think he's better than Kayvon Thibodeau. That kid in Alabama is the best defensive football player that Nick Saban has ever coached in college. Nobody is better. He is the best football player. He reminds me of Derek Thomas. Now, whatever you thought of Derek Thomas, I knew Derek Thomas. He's from Miami. Okay? Him and my other friend, Cornelius Bennett, who's been on this program, actually, Biscuit, SEC Players of the Year, up for the Heisman Trophy. You had both those dudes on the Alabama Crimson Tide at the same time. You had Derek Thomas and you had Biscuit, Cornelius Bennett. Dude, those are some linebackers that hurt folk and got after people. That's what you call players. Okay? Justin Herbert will be a choker. Well, we'll see. You're right. The optics. See, I like your optics, Service. When you see Jalen, you see a better quarterback than Justin Herbert. If you asked 100 people in the NFL that question, what do you think they'd say? You'd be the only one in the room with your hand up. You'd be the only one in the room. Then we could talk the Playmaker Dynasty. Shut up, GT. God, he kills me with that thing, man. Michael says, I'd rather have TVD. No, he's going to New York. I've already worked the deal out. Tyler Van Dyke's going to the Giants. You guys didn't want him. You guys didn't want him. Yeah, I got the head coach. And then, of course, my number one bullseye is the defensive coordinator. I think he's terrible. Josh Allen sucks without Diggs. Yeah, you're right. So when you see Josh Allen. You'd rather have Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen, too. So we've come to the conclusion today that there are actually folks that watch my show that would rather have Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. There's actually people out there that think that. That's stunning. I mean, but I've got to remember, I mean, I get it. Okay? Just like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers does have a Super Bowl win. I did know Herbert grew up an Eagle fan. And I will tell you, Tyler Van Dyke's an Eagle fan. He told me. Grew up an Eagle fan. He wasn't a Giant fan. He grew up an Eagle fan. And where he's from in Connecticut, you would have thought he grew up a Brady fan. But he grew up a Donovan McNabb fan. He tweeted it out at Donovan. Did you guys see that tweet? Donovan tweeted it back at him. He's a Donovan McNabb fan. Yeah. Love McNabb. Loves McNabb. He's an Eagle fan, but you guys don't want him. It's all good. Don't worry. He'll look good in giant blue. Yeah, throwing dimes against the safeties. I never said I'd rather have him over Hurts. I'm just saying that Josh Allen sucks without Diggs. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, he probably sucks without Diggs. Yeah, so, yeah, Tyler Van Dyke, we'll already worked the deal out with the Giants. I already talked to John Mara. Xander goes like this. Has TVD even won the job at Miami yet? Are you kidding me? He's up for every award there is this year. And by the way, he is 6'5", unlike your guy, who's a schwimp. 5'11", 182. Bryce Young. This guy's like Donnell Pumphrey. He's built like Donnell Pumphrey. Who is that 5-star quarterback that committed to Miami? He's still in high school. Yeah, man, I saw that kid. By the way, I think Bryce Young, Kyler Murray has shown us, and so has Drew Brees, he's going to succeed in the NFL, in my opinion. Bryce is going to be a good player. Dude, one of my favorite things that I love about Bryce Young was that Southeastern Conference championship game. That Auburn, then the SEC title game. Can you imagine if you play at Alabama, you had to do this to win the national title. You had to beat Auburn, which, dude, you know that dorky ass thing where people say the records don't matter? That Iron Bowl, it really doesn't matter. People put their houses up, their girlfriends, their wives up, land. It's more than you think. I know college football is not big in Philly, but, dude, that's a different game. That thing has got different energy to it. Even Texas OU, that thing, in my opinion, I think that thing has as much energy as the Ohio State-Michigan game. And in some aspects, it's more hated. That dude killed that tree. That guy killed that tree at Auburn. That tree had been there for like 700 million years. He poisoned the tree and killed it. Dude, that guy'd rather poison people, too. That's a crazy rivalry. So you had to win that game. Then you had to play Georgia twice. Look at Georgia. Georgia's not the SEC champions. That's what I'd be throwing at their face. Yeah, you may be national champs, but we own the number one conference in the country. We're Southeastern Conference champs. I'd wear that ring for that game when I see them again and go, see that right there? You ain't got that, bitch. I've already got me one of them national title rings. I'm good. But you ain't got this. That's it. I'd be barking at you. Mr. International, I love college football too. Seals, if Jalen Hurts balls out, you'll have to wear a Hurts SZN hat all show. Sure. I'm not going to have to worry about it, though. Oregon UCLA rivalry, Mr. International. Really? Really? Okay. Really? Do they have a rivalry? Chip Kelly versus Oregon. I bet that's a fun one to watch. Oh, man. No, I wanted to, no tattoos. No, I got one here. I got a UM one. And Big Sills, I got a tattoo that Randy White kind of drew a little bit when I was in Dallas. Randy White gave me a tattoo on my leg. He even signed it. RW. Guys thought he was some tattoo guy. It was not bad. It's a Brahma bull. Yeah, Randy White gave me a tattoo. Yeah, it was because I had great reverence for the guy. All right, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Coaches on the hot seat. And my surprise teams in the NFL. We're going to hit on that. Please hit the like button. Thank you so much for being here. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Plan your day with confidence.
Definitely want to keep the umbrellas on hand.
And keep your family safe with Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Well over 7 inches of rain.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising right now.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. On TV, on 6abc.com, and on our streaming apps.
And that's when we go severe weather mode and on the air for you.
Action News and AccuWeather. The team you trust.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Welcome back. National Football Show. Your boy Big Sills here. Look at easy money. What if Kenny Pickett beats Jalen Hurts? Easy money. What if these quarterbacks beat Jalen Hurts this year? Well, wait a minute. Last year, Daniel Jones and Dak beat him. Daniel Jones beat Jalen Hurts last year. Daniel Jones. Oh, my God. They scored only 17 points a game last year, did the Giants. How do you lose to Daniel Jones? How do you lose to Daniel Jones and that Giant team? The Giant team didn't even score 20 points a game. Poor coaching. That's how you lose. We'll see. Wentz ain't beating us. Here, watch this. Okay. Jalen Hurts versus Jared Goff. What's Jared Goff's record as a starting quarterback in the NFL? This is a good. Oh, I love this. Jared Goff stats. Let's see here. What's his record? He's 83-83. He was 42-27 with the Rams. Wow. This guy's won 83 NFL ball games. Okay. So wait a minute here. Hey, that's a good – I like this game, Xander. Who has the quarterback advantage in the Lions? In the Lions game, Eagles or Lions? And I'll listen to you. I'm going to keep this too. Who has the advantage? Hurts over a guy who's won an NFC title. Interesting. Hurts, Eagles. Okay. Eagles. Hurts over Goff. I sure hope so. Cousins or Hurts. Who has the advantage in week 2 at quarterback? The Vikings or the Eagles? Who has the advantage? Vikings? Hurts, GT says. Cousins. Someone with some brains. Cousins. Okay, so you guys, Cousins, Vikings. Fair enough. We're going to get someplace with this conversation. Okay, you're right. Minnesota has the advantage. Common sense comes through. Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts. Minnesota, week 3. Who's got the quarterback advantage? The Eagles or the Commanders? Hurts? Wentz is a sack master. He sure is. That guy can't shake that shit, man. He's F Wentz. Clap, clap, sack. Wentz, I'm going to go the Eagles here. Listen to this. Eagles over Wentz. First 3 games, you got the quarterback advantage 2 of the 3. That's pretty good, man. Quarterback advantage. Trevor Lawrence or Jalen Hurts? I'm not talking about team. I'm talking about who's the better quarterback. Trevor Lawrence or Jalen? You got Jalen. So you'd rather have Jalen Hurts, and you think Jalen Hurts is the advantage, is a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence? No way. Trevor Lawrence. All day. Here's Hurts. Cousins. Hurts. So, first 4 weeks, it's 2-2. It's 2-2. I know. Xander's right. Man, watch Trevor Lawrence compared to today than a year ago. Dude looks already different. Yeah, I don't think so either, man. That guy looks really good. Kyler Murray, Cardinals. Week 5. Who has the advantage in week 5 at quarterback? The Cardinals or the Eagles? I'm not talking about records. I'm talking about who has the advantage at quarterback. Murray, Hurts. You think Hurts is better than Kyler Murray? My God almighty, man. Hurts said in a magazine shoot, he was watching Miami. Oh, he's trying. His mom watches the show. I know what he's doing. Mom Hurts. It's not personal. I was watching the U 30 for 30. Big Sills is in that. Oh. Big Sills is in the 30 for 30. Come on, Jalen. Come on, man. Kyler Murray. So, first 5. The Eagles have the quarterback advantage 2 of the first 5 games. Cowboys, Dak Prescott. In week 6, who's got the quarterback advantage? The Cowboys or the Eagles? Week 6. Look at that. Prescott. Dak. Dallas stinks. Big Dick Dak. Cowboys. Okay, Dak. So, in the first 6 games going into the bye, you have the quarterback advantage 2 and 4. Huh. Interesting. Of the 6 games, you only have the quarterback advantage 2 of the 6. And that comes out to 2 and 4. How interesting. Huh. Week 8. Kenny Pickett. Jalen's got it. I'll take Jalen over Pickett. Because we've already done Washington. They got the advantage. I think you're right. Jalen's got it. Week number 11. The Colts. Kenny Pickett, you got over Jalen. I don't. Matt Ryan versus Jalen. I saw that, Ryan. Means he can't play for the first 4 weeks. That's based on last year's version of Hurts. Hey, Dom, what are you, a fortune teller? How do you know what he's going to do this year? I only go people have done and who they are today. Not what you maybe think they'd be this year. That doesn't even sound right. It's not what you think they might be this year. That's pie in the sky. That's paper champion shit again. Going down that road. Well, he might be John Elway. Yeah, okay. You know what, man, Rage? I'm going to take Jalen Hurts over Matt Ryan. I want to see if Matt Ryan's not toast. Last 2 years haven't been that hot. I'm going to take Jalen over that. I know, it sounds crazy, doesn't it? So look at that. Starting to get back, first time back-to-back. Packers, don't debate it. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, you don't have to debate that. Ryan Tannehill, week 13. Funny, I heard the guys on Sports Take go like this. You know, he just doesn't seem like a big winner, even though he's been to the conference championship game 2 of the last 3 years, and he had the number 1 seed last year in the AFC without Derrick Henry for 10 games and A.J. Brown for 4. Ryan Tannehill all of a sudden sucks. You know, again, here's a guy that doesn't put gigantic numbers up, but for whatever reason, numbers won't be a factor for Jalen, but they're a factor for Tannehill, even though he wins. He's 33-13 since he's been the starter in Tennessee. That's not winning? Sorry. I don't know what winning means then. He's 33-13 as a starting quarterback in Tennessee since he's taken the reins. Come on, man. You know what? I'll take Hurts over Tannehill for shits and giggles. Daniel Jones in week 14. Remember, Jalen got beat by him last year. Outdueled. Jalen was outdueled by the greatness of Daniel Jones. I'll take Hurts too. Look at this, man. Bears. Justin Fields. Look at Hurts racking him up in the second half of the season when it's like weakness. Jameis Winston. Winston's a better quarterback than the greatness of Daniel Jones. So you've got the advantage at quarterback in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the 17 ball games that you'll play this year, you'll have the quarterback advantage. I mean, beat Daniel Jones before you could beat Dak. Isn't that fair? Right? MVP, baby. Eagles have a better roster. Wasn't talking about that. Daniel Jones is trash. Totally. How'd you get beat by him? That's the point, Joseph. How'd you get beat by that guy? He's dog shit. He totally is. Rager killed it. He did. That's fair. Well, because you doubled up. You got the, what do you want? Double for the Washington game? You're going to have the advantage either in week 10 or week 3 when you play Washington. You're going to have the quarterback advantage. Same thing with any team in the NFC East. Okay? You don't get, well, we'll have this week and this one. No. Well, maybe that could change, especially if the greatness of Daniel Jones outplays your ass again. Hey, beat Daniel Jones first. You're talking about beating Dak Prescott. Yeah. Daniel Jones is the barometer and the benchmark. I heard Barrett, man. He's all in on Jalen. He's all in. He thinks he's it. And I'm with Derek Gunn. And the other dude, I'm with him. I'm with those guys. Okay? I am. You mean beat the kicker? Yeah, that's it. Outdueled. Outdueled. MVP when Hurts finally it's a win over Jones. Goddard had an awful. Wasn't that in the red zone too, Chris? Here are my surprise teams in the NFL. I'm going to take one from Xander here. I think the Saints are going to be a surprise. I think if Jameis Winston could stay healthy, I think this guy's going to, It's one thing that I heard, and I can't remember his name. Somebody helped me. The offensive coordinator in New Orleans is still there. And he was the guy that was play calling last year for Jameis Winston. I know that Sean Payton's not there, and Sean Payton has a lot of influence on the game plan. But if they get Jameis Winston back in track again, I'll tell you something, man. That Saints team has a lot of talent. They're pretty good defensively, and they get any quarterback play, they could kick Tampa Bay around a little bit. Tampa Bay's banged up. Now, I saw Michael Thomas is hurt too, again. But, yeah, Pete Carmichael. Thank you, Razor. Pete Carmichael was there a year ago, right? Play calling for Jameis, and they were 5-1. That could be a surprise team. That Saints team has owned the Buccaneers in the regular season since Brady's been down in Tampa. They've owned them. Okay? I mean, Saints have really put together. I mean, look, Mickey Loomis, the general manager, and the Benson family have done a great job running that franchise. I know Justin Herbert sucks. I'd rather have Jalen over Justin Herbert. I got the Chargers number 3. Dude, you got Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. You got maybe one of the best young offensive tackles in Slater over on the blind side. You've got Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, Derwin James. You got a bunch of good-looking football players on that team. I think the Chargers – let me say this to you. That coach will get blown out immediately. And if I were Sean Payton, I'd want that job. I wouldn't want the Dallas job. I'll take that Chargers job. Okay, who would you rather have, Dak Prescott or Justin Herbert? Yeah, I'm going to take the guy with the Chargers. I would take that kid. And it's in L.A. How you doing? This is a reach, and I hope it's not going to come back and bite me. I got the Dolphins at 2. They've added a boatload of talent. If Tua doesn't throw for 4,000 yards and they don't win 11 games, and they're not the second best team in the AFC East, they're going to move on and get a quarterback. Okay? And I could see Tyler Van Dyke just going across the street there and potentially playing in Miami. That's okay, though. I'm working on a deal. He's texting me out loud, very disappointed in all of you Eagle fans. He goes, Sills, I grew up an Eagle fan. What do I have to do? Nah, doesn't matter. They're sold on Jalen. Even my guy, Xander, $40 million. Tyler, even the executive producer of JAKIB wants Jalen over you. Send. Tell that guy to prove some shit. Oh, okay. A lot of people have to prove a lot of things this year, don't they? It's not just a guy in Philly. I know, man. He says you haven't done anything yet. Does he know that I'm going to be the 5th pick in the draft? I know, but it doesn't matter. They got their guy. They got their guy. Seatbelt Hurts. Sills, we're going 11-6. Sounds right. Nick's like 30 more minutes. Nick, stop it. Stop it, Nick. Tell Taylor Van Dyke I want him. No, you never tell another man you want him. Okay? Or need him. And no comment from you, Xander. Hey, we have 3 to 5 clips for you today. He can watch you all night. No. Hang on for a second here. Hold on here. I told you I talked to John Mara already. Yeah, and the new GM. They like you a lot. Don't worry about it. Armando Sargaro, by the way, tomorrow from Outkick. And also the Miami Herald covers the Dolphins. We'll get his thoughts. And Tyler Van Dyke news. Tyler Van Dyke wants to come on the show. He can't. I told him he can't come on until week 7. You can't come on until week 7. And we'll know more by then. Okay, Howard Dan. Nate, be quiet. Be quiet, Nate. Unless you win a Super Bowl, a lot of quarterbacks lose in the playoffs. No shit. Dank. Look at the records of all the great ones. Peyton Manning's 1 game over 500. Brett Favre's 1 game over 500. Drew Brees is 9-7. Russell Wilson's 9-7. I mean, your people talk. Aaron Rodgers is 1 game over 500. I mean, you make it sound like all these quarterbacks are Montana and Brady. You know who's got a really good postseason record? Is Roethlisberger. He's got a pretty good one. I want his quarterback skills in Philly. Nah, you guys don't want him, man. Joseph. Dan, you're funny. Hey, Joseph, I just told the 5th pick in the draft, you guys have no interest in him. Okay? Hey, Mrs. Hurts, tell Jalen that's really cool that he watched the 30 for 30. Big Sills is number 93. Yeah, I'm the one that slammed them guys on their heads and did some, what do you call them? Clotheslines. My daughter goes like this. Dad, why are you clotheslining people in a game? This is what I told her. Now, I don't subscribe to this anymore. So do you guys remember that running back named Sammy Smith? He played for the Dolphins. He was a Florida State guy, right? I looked over at Jerome Brown, and I go like this. I'm going to clothesline this guy when he comes through the line of scrimmage. I'm going to F this guy up. I don't give a shit where the play goes. Jerome starts laughing. He goes, it's going to be a 15-yard penalty. I go, I don't care. So he comes through the line of scrimmage, man, and I clothesline this guy. I deplete this guy. This guy gets a shoulder injury too, man. He goes out. He comes back in. 15-yard penalty. Jimmy takes me to the side, and he goes, why the hell did you do that? You know we're the least penalized team. You know we don't do – and I go, Coach, that guy has no heart and no character. I guarantee he puts the ball on the ground in the 4th quarter, and we capitalize on it. Sure enough, he fumbled twice. After the game, Jimmy comes up to me. He goes, you would have ran the entire length of Bayshore Boulevard if that guy didn't fumble. I said, I know. Jerome's sitting next to me. I go, I'm going to clothesline this guy, and I'm going to take this guy out. So my daughter's like, Dad, you can't do that today. And I go, you couldn't do that then, too. But you guys have Jonathan Gannon as your DC. That's the shit I'm talking about. Can you imagine that huddle with Gang Green, with Buddy and Jerome and Reggie and Seth and Wes Hopkins and Andre Waters? I'm going to F that dude up, man. He come across the middle, he going to be seeing the top of the vet. That's the shit I like. Yeah. My daughter's like, well, Dad, you can't do that stuff today. I'm like, I know, honey. Yeah. And by the way, I don't want you to do that either. And she's like, oh, okay, it's good for you. I go, no. Cheap shot, Sills. No. We won the game, and he did fumble twice. Hey, okay, we won the game, and he did fumble twice, and it was Florida State. Hey, Mr. Softy. Joseph, that is unbelievably awesome. Nick, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Hey, Mr. Softy. What's the name of your defensive coordinator? Mr. Softy. Yeah. Mr. Softy. Oh, programming note. Armando Salguero from Miami giving us a little bit of what's going to go on in the practices for Thursday and Friday. Dolphins. Tagovailoa, or would it be Teddy Bridgewater? We will also have Hollis Thomas on Thursday, and Big Sil's going to bring back LB with the Hurts season hat. Supposedly, Jalen is wearing those now along with A.J. Brown, and I've been told, Xander, that there's some hats on the way for us, and I'd like to see maybe, I don't know if I can wear that because Hurts the season yet. We'll wait and see. Again, where is that? Week 7? Tyler, stop harassing me. You're not coming to Philly. It's not happening. They don't want you. They want Jalen. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Xander, as always, awesome stuff. Guys, if you missed Merrill Reese, please go back and watch it. I know Xander has it posted and it's scheduled to go out a little bit later on. If you missed it, please go back and watch it. He was awesome as always. We thank you again. Xander, you were great. You all were great. Thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 to 6 Eastern time, and we'll see you on the flip side.